Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Will Simpson. I am the Los Angeles Upwork Ambassador, and today we're going to be talking about some freelancing 101 best practices. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just dive in here. Our goal today is to build a profitable and rewarding business on Upwork and just really go over some basic tips to structure yourself for success in the long term. So we're going to start off with 5 powerful tips from the top-rated freelancers who are doing quite successfully on Upwork. First up, you want to understand in your mind that many people that are new to freelancing don't really see their freelancing as a business. They see it as maybe just a single-off person doing an action, performing a service. But when you are ready to start your freelancing business, it's important to structure it accordingly. You are HR, you are legal, you are accounting. So it's important that if you don't know the nuances of what that entails in your area, to go ahead and seek those professionals to help you. It's advised to connect with a lawyer or an accountant to really figure out how you should structure yourself. You want to register your business name, and do you want to be an LLC? Do you want to be a sole proprietor? It'd be a good idea to check with a local accountant to see how you need to structure any of your accounting practices and how you document any of your expenses. And also make sure that you have any necessary work permits. And this can vary not only by geographical location, but type of freelancing. If you're doing any medical services or legal services in your freelancing, you may need certain certificates, such as trade licenses, tax certificates, VAT certificates, work licenses, all that good stuff. So takeaway here is that if you don't innately know this knowledge about your area and your profession, it is always prudent to seek that advice and counsel from people who are authorized to give that information, know far more than you may. Um, so it may seem simple, but a lot of people get hung up and have some difficulty by simply not completing their Upwork profile and making it shine. Now, there are actually quite a few webinars and presentations we do that are specifically about this topic. If you look in the Upwork community forum, available at the very bottom of the screen at upwork.com, there is a webinar there called Profile Makeover, I believe it is, and that is geared specifically towards this. But this is hugely important. This is the interview before the interview when you're bidding on projects. So you want to make sure that you're using a good portrait, a good picture, a clear picture of your face. There are actually some free tools online. You can Google them real quick, where you can submit a few different photos and people will vote on which photo they like the best, which one makes them feel confident or makes you look like the professional that they would select. So it's a good idea to make sure you have that dialed in. Make sure that when you're framing your profile, it's not so much about a laundry list of your skills and what you like to do, so much as what the audience will want to hear, what the potential client will want to hear. So it's, here's what I do for my clients, not here's what I like to do and here's a list of programs that I use. It's, I spend my time making amazing graphics for my clients who are thrilled, who are typically working in these areas, whatever the case may be. You just want to make sure that it flows well. Revisit it periodically as you get further into your freelancing. You'll find that your freelancing will evolve as you get into it. Okay, but most of all, make sure it is complete. You'll see on the right-hand side when you're logged in, your profile completeness. There'll be a little percentage bar. Make sure you get that up to 100. Okay, hugely important. And then of course, it should go without saying, but make sure you proofread and update your profile regularly. Okay. Next, you want to multiply your chances of getting responses from a client. Don't assume that just because you wrote something in your profile that the client has actually read it. Even if they have, they're probably getting masses of people bidding on their jobs, depending on what section you're working in. So they've reviewed a lot of profiles. A lot of people may blend together in their mind. So it's a good idea to keep your bids and your messages to them concise and to the point. You want to make sure you tailor each and every proposal to the job and the client. However, I personally have used a few templates, but each template that I use, when I'm submitting it, I back up and I tailor make it to each proposal. Are there specific keywords that the client repeated in their job description? Whatever the case may be, spending that 10, 15 minutes on a really winning bid is worth it, and it makes your acceptance rate vastly higher. Um, you want to make sure you respond to the screening questions first. So there's not only the cover letter, but below they may say, what makes you feel like you are specifically suited to this job, or a question like that. It's good to know that on the client side, when they see your proposal, your bid on a job, they will see that those specific screening questions up top. So for instance, if one of the screening questions is, do you have any questions, additional questions about this project? Previously I would always put no, not really. But if the first thing they see is me saying no, not really, that doesn't really start them off with the warm and fuzzies. Okay, so it's always good to show interest. And so even if you don't really have a question, come up with a question. Like to learn more about your specific design style. I personally do graphic design, so a lot of my references here will be from my perspective of doing graphic design for my clients. Of course, there are many types of freelancing here on Upwork, though. So the screening questions, you want to make sure you describe your experience that is relevant to the job. I know many of us wear many different hats, as I like to call it, where you have skill sets in a variety of silos. If your skill set is not pertinent to the job, best to leave it out the way for now. It may come up later in conversation, but when you are dealing with a client who has a lot of freelancers coming to them with different bids, it's good to keep it specific to them. Okay, and leverage your portfolio to strengthen your credibility. It's so imperative to make sure you keep your portfolio up to date with your most recent work. And that's a topic we'll actually get into a little bit later in this presentation. But it's a good idea to provide work samples, testimonials, things that are relevant to the jobs. Um, uh, a lot of freelancers we've seen out there will simply send a link, a specific link to maybe their portfolio or anything. But if you don't put any context around what the link is, a client's not likely to go down a rabbit hole. So if you're saying, hey, additional parts of my portfolio can be seen, up on Behance, whatever the case may be, you give them some context on why they'd be clicking that link. But ultimately, I find it's best to keep all of that inside of Upwork, keep your profile up to date, keep your portfolio up to date, just keep everything there in Upwork. It's just a lot easier for everyone involved and keeps you within the terms and conditions. And a good practice is to end your proposal with a call to action. The simplest way to do this is and a successful way to do this is simply to say, when is the best time for us to connect? I'm free on Tuesday between this time and this time, or does one Wednesday work better for you? The actual dates and the actual times are arbitrary. The ending with a question or asking something from the recipient of that is just a good sales technique to hook people's attention and is far more likely to get engagement. And then from there, it's up to you to win the actual bid. Make sure that when you're sending out these proposals, reread, proofread. You'd be surprised how much, when you've been looking at the same type up for a while, your brain sees what it wants to see. So take the time to step away, come back, look at it with fresh eyes. It's worth it. And then once you've got it dialed in, probably a good idea to save some templates so you can modify down the line. Okay. Um, it's so important to build positive relationships with clients, and this really is a skill set, one that we have a lot of expert speakers come and lecture or do presentations such as this with us. I highly recommend you make it to one of those if you can. But to build excellent relationships with clients, it's super important to manage expectations, let them know when the timelines they can expect, what they can expect, how many revisions. Make sure that you are proactive in communicating what it looks like. A lot of the clients that you will be encountering are not familiar with this workflow. Maybe it's their first time hiring a freelancer. With this recent climate of COVID, where everyone's pushed remote, it's becoming more and more common that people that had not engaged with freelancers previously are now engaging in their service just because it's required. So make sure you communicate with them, communicate your availability, and practice transparency and be proactive. It's always a good idea to be able to respond promptly to a client when they reach out. Keep in mind that if you have bid on a job, it is likely that there are multiple other freelancers who have also bid on the job. And if they said, hey, how's it going, to 5 freelancers, the first few that respond are going to be the ones that likely get the gig. Okay. So it's important to set your devices up accordingly. Like I have Upwork going to my phone, so I have messages going there. I have on my Upwork Messenger on my desktop, I have the desktop notifications turn on. So these are quick ways to make sure you are first in line when they show interest in hiring you. Pro tip here down at the bottom, saying thank you is vastly underrated. Saying, thank you for speaking with me. Thank you for the project. Just little niceties like that go a long way in building a respectful relationship. And I personally have spent a lot of time and attention on this in my own freelancing. And to give you an idea, when done successfully, I still have my very first freelancing client, graphic design client from 7 or 8 years ago when I just sort of dabbled in it as a hobby. I still have that first client, and we have a great relationship. And I've actually visited her a few times as I've traveled up and down the coast in California, where I'm located. So it's nice. And when you're able to build a rapport with clients, you get a lot more regular workflow from them. You can really expedite your communications with them. So building excellent relationships with clients is huge, rather than the turn and burn mentality that maybe some businesses or freelancers may have. Okay. So it's a good idea to establish a routine after each completed job. And this is something that I was guilty of not doing when I first started freelancing. And as a result, um, I'd look at my profile every few months, and I'd look at the work that's on there and be like, oh my God, this is the old stuff back when I didn't know how to do XYZ technique. And I'm like, I can't believe clients have been hiring me with this. And I go in and I'd update. So especially if you're new to freelancing, this is a great time and opportunity for you to set yourself up for success. Get in a workflow of not just opening but closing out a project. So for me, when you are closing out a project, you want to contact the client there and ask for honest feedback. You don't want to pressure them or harass them with multiple messages, but I do something like, thank you for working with me on this project. It was a pleasure working with you. If we're all good to close it out at this time, let me know. And then when I close it out, you will receive an email or a notification from Upwork asking you to give me feedback on my performance. If you would be so kind as to take 2 minutes of your time to fill that out, it means a lot to me in helping evolve my business and best serve valued clients like yourself. And also it lets the world know if I've done a good job so I can get more jobs such as this. Um, so it's a good idea to get in that habit of asking for that feedback politely, but go ahead and do that. And then once you finish a job, it's a good idea to take that time. Once you finish the job, you send the notification to the client, update that portfolio. You can go ahead and link the portfolio item to the contract itself, which is pretty cool. It will request approval from the client, which is usually no problem. But this helps verify that your work is legit. It was done for a client. Here's what the client said: 5 stars, Will rocked it. We're definitely going to hire him again, whatever the case may be. And then, as you get further in your freelancing and you start getting jobs that are at a higher rate than what you used to start at, maybe you were starting at $30 an hour as your general hourly rate, but you've been getting jobs recently for $50 an hour because your skills have gotten better. People are liking what you got. At that time, have the routine. You close out the job for a higher rate, go to your profile, sorry, and update your general hourly rate to match. Doing this on a case-by-case basis means that you don't have that huge delay, and what you're saying in your proposals, your bids on jobs, doesn't have a drastic disparity between what your portfolio and your profile say. So it's a good way to get into that habit. Honestly, once you get in the routine, it takes about 7 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes. So not a big deal. Some additional best practices to keep in mind. Do great work. If you are bidding on jobs that you don't want to do or that are painful for you to do, which I've been guilty of doing in the past, I know that I've been guilty of maybe not giving my full effort or just like trying to get it done and get it out the door. This is not a good practice. Not just for you, you'll end up hate doing the work that you're doing, and you may end up burning out. But also, it doesn't create a good review history by your clients. You want to make sure you are not only doing great work, but also representing your skills fairly. It is totally fine to be new at something. On the Upwork marketplace, not everyone is looking for the Leonardo da Vinci of logos or of writing or accounting. Some people just want someone who's good or new. Some people are on a tight budget. Some people need simple things done for a small amount of money, and they're happy to have someone that's relatively new to it doing that. So be honest with your skills. Accurately describe what you can provide in the timeline you can provide. I've found that when you are forthright with this, people are far more likely to be patient with you and to give you the benefit of the doubt. So it doesn't behoove you to pretend to be something that you're not. And then something we came up with earlier in the presentation: be responsive. This is not only important when you are bidding on jobs and a client pings you back, but when you get an invite to a job, the Upwork team will match up jobs that need doing with potential freelancers that look like a good match. When you get those invites to jobs, it is imperative to go ahead and respond quickly. It doesn't matter if that response is decline. Do it quickly, because part of the metrics which go ahead and feed you those invites is whether or not you are responsive, and the responsive is based on the delay between when they asked and when you said yes or no. So it's really important to keep in mind. Yeah, put your best foot forward. We mentioned earlier your profile picture. Make sure it looks clean, visible. Maybe friendly is a good idea, depending on what you're doing. But I like to use those free tools online to go ahead and source which of my profile pictures resonates with a client, because the picture that I think may be good may not be what other people see. They may think I got a nasty look on my face, or whatever the case may be. So leverage these tools. Ask your friends or network to proofread and read with a fresh set of eyes your portfolio, and just get that feedback. It helps a lot. So I want to touch on staying safe on Upwork. You want to make sure you secure your account. So not only for obvious reasons and using up connects and stuff like that, but you have money moving through this, so you want to make sure you lock it down tight. So I recommend enabling the two-factor verification. So it's not just using a password, but it uses a 6-digit code sent by text message to the phone. And the way you set it up is you go to password and security on your settings page, I think the cogwheel top right, and then enable phone verification under two-step verification. Okay, it's a good idea. This is connected to your bank account, connected to your income, so worth it to take that little extra step to go ahead and protect yourself. Make sure you're using your own account and verify your identity. I don't know if any of you have utilized any other freelancing sites. I know when I first started, I had not encountered Upwork at the time, and I used one or two other sites, and I quickly lost faith in them. There were scam messages, there were all sorts of spam and just clients with bad intention, and people that were pretending to be things and people that they weren't. And as a result, there was a lot of communication issues. There was a lot of lost opportunity and frustration. And that happens on not just the freelancer side, but on the client side. One of the things that makes Upwork so unique and so valuable is how, for lack of a better word, clean they keep their marketplace. People are verified, they are who they say they are. People are following the rules, and it works well. It works well for the clients, it works well for the freelancers. And Upwork takes this very seriously. So they're constantly getting feedback from the community on how to improve this trust relationship. We just did a focus group where we talked to a lot of local freelancers and said, hey, what is it that makes you feel that trust in the marketplace versus not? Anyway, back to this topic, sorry. So don't share your accounts and don't have a fake identity. This not only protects you and your reputation, but it contributes to just a transparent community and a place of trust. You can never log into another client's account on a client's behalf. There's a quick way to get suspended. There's a lot of nuances there. And as part of the efforts to keep Upwork safe, secure, and free of fraud, they'll periodically ask users to go through the identity checks. You've probably already gone through one where it was where you got the identity verified badge on your Upwork profile. Typically, it's two-stage verification. You provide a copy of your a valid government ID, like your driver's license, and then the second part, which is to complete a video verification with a live human. And it's good to get that little badge on your profile, the verified identity. It gives a lot of trust and faith to people, especially clients that are new to freelancing, that may not feel comfortable in this online world. They're used to dealing in face-to-face. So very important. Use one Upwork account. There's no need to make multiple accounts. And this has been made especially true recently with the addition of I believe it's called specialized profiles. So you can have your general profile, which for me would look like, hey, I'm Will, I'm a graphic designer. But there are other parts that I do as well. I do a little bit of video editing, like sizzle reels. So maybe I have a focus profile or a specific profile that's geared towards my video work, but I don't need to create a separate profile on Upwork or a separate login username on Upwork. It will get identified, and they'll both be axed. Okay, so just go ahead and work within that one profile, creating the specific offshoots from there. You want to make sure you're accepting payment only through Upwork. You will encounter some clients that will ask, hey, is it cool if we pay outside? No, absolutely not. This is for your protection and also to work within the requirements of Upwork. Then there's a conversion fee provided in Section 7 of the user agreement for additional details, and that fee can be paid for either by the client or the freelancer, and this fee is based on 12% of the estimated annual earnings based on hourly rate. That's to take yourself out of the Upwork there. So make sure you're just working through Upwork. They do a lot of things to protect your payments and to make sure that if there's any disagreement between you and your clients regarding the payment, they go ahead and they champion you on that and make sure it's all good. Okay. If you're interested in learning more about the separation of relationship internal and external to Upwork, feel free to contact Conversion Fee at upwork.com. They can provide you more details on that one. Okay. Now, there are a few exceptions to taking a client outside of Upwork. So it's only if you've either done the conversion fee that we just talked about, or two, if you've been working with this client for 2 or more years inside of Upwork on that platform, you can then take that relationship offline direct without Upwork being involved or being upset about it. Okay. Shielding yourself for payment protection here. The maximum rate per hour protected by Upwork on freelancers, the hourly payment is the lesser of the rate provided on the hourly contract terms. The hourly contracts go ahead and verify that the client has a valid billing method. You can track the hours within Upwork, and at the end of each week on hourly contracts, your client will go ahead and okay or review those hours, or if there's any issues, they can go ahead and bring it up at that time rather than at the end of a long contract, which may have gone months. And you want to make sure that you're staying within the contract's weekly limit. If you need to amend a contract, like let's say you started at a limit of 5 hours a week, but as you get working, you and the client both agree that, hey, this is more 7, 10 hours a week. If you guys are good with that, you can go ahead and request to alter the terms of the agreement, and that'll ping it over to the client to go ahead and accept or reject for you to communicate. With the fixed price contracts, all escrow funds are covered by the fixed price protection. This one's awesome. So once you've got the milestones or the bid in there for the hourly amount, the client's funds go into escrow, and then once everyone's happy, it goes ahead and releases it. Super safe way to make sure you're getting paid. Works really well. Honestly, it's my preferred way of doing it. But each freelancer has their own way of doing their business. You want to make sure that you're keeping your communications on Upwork. This is a big part of the sort of terms and conditions or requirements of Upwork, especially before you have the contract secured with the client. So make sure you don't have any Skype names or direct contact in your profile. You don't want your phone number in there or a separate way to contact. That is a violation, and you can go ahead and get kicked off Upwork for that. So once you have a contract, you can take communications off Upwork. Like if the client wants you to text message, you can. I still recommend you keep it in Upwork. It helps for organization. It helps if there's ever a disagreement between you and the client and Upwork has to get involved and you want them to back you up. If all your communications are external to Upwork, they can't help you out. There's nothing legally track record for them to follow to help you out. So do not try and communicate outside of the Upwork platform. Definitely not before the contract is started, and recommended even not after that. Okay. The only exceptions to that rule actually are the enterprise clients. Some enterprise clients do have the ability to direct contact there, which is usually facilitated in a different workflow. So the types of jobs that are not allowed. You don't want to do academic submissions, adult content, paid reviews, or jobs for free, or as I like to say, exposure. I'm sure many of you have been in that situation. You want to be honest. It is against the terms of service to self-hire or have a friend or family member go ahead and put a job out there and get you those 5 stars. I understand. that as new freelancers, it can be difficult to land those first few gigs. Sometimes you feel like you're putting out a lot of proposals and no one wants to talk to you. Have a little faith in yourself and try some A/B testing. Look at some of the recorded webinars we have, such as this one and some of the other ones we've done on proposals that sell, profile makeover, things like that. It can be frustrating at first when you don't have any reputation on a site, you don't have those 5-star reviews, but it happens. You compete on price if you have to. That should be the last one, but get help from people that are doing successful work out there. Get feedback from your peers. You know, if I sent you this message, how would you respond to it? What's your takeaway? Would you hire me? That sort of thing. Okay, so just make sure we're working within the frames of the terms of service too. Reporting. You can report violations, and we strongly advise you to report violations. You can do this via the customer support, or you can flag a job as inappropriate. And in the message center, the little gear icon next to the timestamp, you can go ahead and connect. I have used this, and it's so important that we all play a part in making sure that the marketplace stays transparent and trustworthy. Upwork does this by having their terms of service and making sure we engage appropriately with the clients. They have their own set of rules too and how to engage with us. But if you encounter a scam potential there, which I've encountered once or twice, and I've reported them each time, and they're very quick to respond, very quick to shut that down. And I will say that I've always been very impressed with Upwork support. If you ever have any issues, reach out to support. Okay, not just for reporting, but if you're having any issues, not like how do I get a job? That's more of a community forum, do some research, or webinar like this. But if you are unsure if something's a scam, or if you fear something, report it. They will do the homework. They've got excellent teams that go ahead and handle this. Okay. Some things to be on the lookout for, ones that you know to be able to flag. Clients that want to interview off the platform. This has been a recent one where you'll put a bid out on a job and they say, "Will, it sounds great. Can you call me or can you email me here at a different email?" That's usually a bit of a red flag for me, especially when the email doesn't really match up to the client name or the business name or something like that. But keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for clients looking to pay you outside of Upwork. People saying, "Hey, do you accept Bitcoin or can I use PayPal?" It's once payments are outside of Upwork, they can't help you. And you can submit a whole bunch of work and never see any payment, and also likely lose your Upwork status here. So best to keep it all inside Upwork. Jobs that are asking you to create fake reviews for social media or generally just devious activities, best to avoid those, report those. It's not a good idea. It doesn't matter if you made a few bucks today. It will not serve you in the long run. And clients that ask you to work for free in the job posting or during the interview, go ahead and just walk away from those. If you don't value your time, the clients will not value your time, and you should value your time. It's worth it. And if you see jobs that just seem a little bit weird, there's no harm in reporting it. If you report a job and it is legit, Upwork will get to the bottom of it. They'll go ahead and clear it and it'll be fine. But once you've been freelancing for a while, you can really read a lot of these postings and quickly identify what is suspect and what is not. Okay, so trust your instincts. For further reading, to know and follow Upwork's terms and service, I highly recommend you take a minute to look through it. Just be familiar. We've covered a lot of the big ones here, but the whole point of the terms of service is to set forward the rules that help make the marketplace a fair, professional, and valuable place to be. As I mentioned, I've been a part of other freelancing sites historically that did not take these incredible steps. There are a lot of steps being taken, constantly evolving. A lot of teams at Upwork headquarters that make this all work, and client engagement and freelancer engagement in reporting and just being forthright and verifying things like that. It makes a huge difference. This type of environment is not common, and we're very fortunate to be a part of it. And I find it hugely valuable, and it's enabled me to live a really cool lifestyle of being free and out and about, which I feel a lot of freelancers are also looking forward to. Upwork does take their rules seriously. The enforcement focuses on allowing users to learn and engage properly, but sometimes they take greater action, including canceling of contracts and accounts and permanently suspending accounts. So don't think that you can just sneak by and get a few things through. It's got a good system. The system is there to protect you and to protect others. So play by the rules. They're good rules, right? So thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time to join this presentation with me. Again, there are so many other good presentations that my associates and I also put on throughout the year that are recorded in the community forums available at the very bottom of Upwork.com. Scroll down to the footer and hit the community section. You can search for webinars, and you can find all sorts of valuable topics and information. Thank you so much for everyone, to everyone for attending. I look forward to speaking to you next time.